and I win every single game. I'm so full. I don't need batteries to play. I'm so confident, and I'm unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. Unstoppable today. I'm unstoppable today. Break down, no need alone, I'll cry out loud. You never see what's hiding out deep down. Yeah, yeah, I know. Thank you.
Let's clap for her until she sits down. We now have the last person, a gentleman, to give us a song, a poem. Okay, it's not working. So, yes, so let's use this.
This is uncomfortable.
Don't want to hold it for you.
No, I have to move with it. Hello? Nightfall in Soweto by Oswald Muise Nimichali. Nightfall comes like a dreaded disease, seeping to the pores of a healthy body and ravaging it beyond repair. A murderous hand, lurking in the shadows, clasping the dagger, strikes down. Strikes down the helpless victim. I am the helpless victim. I am slaughtered every night in the streets. In my helplessness, I languished. Man has ceased to be man. Man has become beast. Man has become prey. I am the prey. I am the quarry to be run down by the marauding beast, let loose by cruel nightfall. Where is my refuge? Where am I safe? Not even in my matchbox house where I barricade myself against cruel nightfall. I tremble at his crunching footsteps. I quake at his deafening knock at the door. Open up! He barks like a rabid dog, thirsty for my blood. Nightfall, nightfall, but why were you ever created? Why can't it be daytime? Daytime, daytime, forevermore. Nightfall in Soweto by Oswald Muise Michali. Thank you.
Let's clap for him. Thank you all. We will now call on Mr. Dodu to give us the rules that will guide the debate. Let's clap for Mr. Dodu as he comes up here. Thank you very much, and you're all welcome once again to the 4th edition of the Interschool Debate. And this is an annual event, and we are looking forward to continuing throughout the coming years. The rules for today are that we're going to have 6 schools participating in this debate. And the schools have been paired, 2 each, debating for and against. We have a timekeeper. Timekeeper, can you show your hand? Yes, this is our timekeeper. And we are going to have 3 speakers for each school. The principal speaker, the first supporting speaker, and the second supporting speaker. And for the principal speaker, we have 5 minutes for the principal speaker. And the bell is going to sound. Please give us the sound of the bell for you to commence speaking. That means the time has started, yes. Just the sound, yeah. Louder. Yes. So once the bell sounds, principal speaker has 5 minutes to speak. And when it is 1 minute for the 5 minutes to get to be up, the time keeper is also going to sound the bell just to alert you. After that, the contesting speaker on the other side, the principal speaker, is also going to have another 5 minutes. Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. I think by the generosity of the chairman for today's occasion, the time has been increased by 1 minute. So, principal speaker is going to have 6 minutes to speak on the topic. And the warning bell will sound at the 5th minute to alert the principal speaker that he or she has only 1 minute to run up. And then the first supporting speaker is going to now have 4 minutes instead of 3 minutes. So 4 minutes for the first supporting speaker, and the bell is going to sound for the first warning, for the warning on the 3rd minute of the first supporting speaker. And the second supporting speaker is going to have 3 minutes to speak. And the bell is going to sound on the 2nd minute. So this is by generosity of our Honorable Chair. Let's give him a round of applause. Yes. Yes, that's wonderful. So we have the for and against. As you can see, the for will be here. If you are speaking for the motion, you'll be here. If you are speaking against, you'll be on this side. We have our panel of judges who are very renowned, and they are going to do justice to what you are going to say. We urge all participants to show a lot of decorum. In fact, this is not, we'll say this is not a World Cup for you to be too tensed, but we want you to feel relaxed, speak to the issues as it pertains to ECOWAS and regional integration, and ensure that you make your school proud. As I stand here, my school is here, but I don't want to mention, otherwise I'll be seen to be partial. But I would like to close by saying, Akraka! No. Akraka! No. Yes, that is the only academy in Ghana. Thank you very much.
My colleague is giving me bombastic side eye because she knows I'll give her, okay, I'm careful, I won't say anything. We gave our cracker permission to give us a jama. And they were insulting my school uniform. That presaid we wear dirty blue. It's okay. We've now gotten to the, we are going to start, we are at the first round of the debate. So the for will go over there, and the against will be here. The topic is national sovereignty is a major obstacle to economic development in West African integration. Accra STEM Academy is for, so they will head over there. And then Frafaha Community Day, they will be against, so they will come over here. But while they are moving, we'll move the microphone over to the judges' side, and they will introduce themselves. The judges, we'll start with Director Tijani. If you could please indulge us.
Hello, good afternoon. It's good morning. Good afternoon. My name is Ahmed Tijani Abubakar. I'm the Director of Regional Integration of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs.
Good afternoon. My name is Colonel Simeon Nyante from the Ghana Armed Forces. I'm a director at the General Headquarters. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Adisa Yakubu. I'm Director of Middle East of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Scholastica Iswa Mensah, Deputy Commissioner of Immigration at the Headquarters and Head of Permanent Residence. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sani Adams. I'm the Director of Youth Development and Empowerment, Ministry of Youth Development and Empowerment. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the introduction by our distinguished judges. So we will now give the floor to Accra STEM Academy to begin. Then, with the rules that were mentioned or indicated, Frafaha Day Community will start.
Picture this. I can fly from Lagos to London within 6 hours. But from Lagos to Accra, that is a 24-hour headache of bribes, delays, and border transit. Why is it easy for a Chinese container to enter Cotonou than a Ghanaian container to enter Nigeria? Now tell me, how do we make it easy to move out of Africa than to move within it? We call it national sovereignty. Let me explain this key term, even in a way a child could understand. National sovereignty is like a fence a country builds around itself. It says, this is my rule, my gate, my money. No one goes out or comes in unless I say so. It sounds noble. It sounds like freedom, self-determination, and control. But where is the integration proposed on the 28th of May, 1975 in Lagos by Yakubu Gowon of Nigeria and Nyansabe Yadamo of Togo? Has it become a war that blocks trade, a war that stores security, a war that turns 400 million people into 15 separate islands? The chair, indomitable judges, ladies and gentlemen, accurate timekeeper, our opponent, cherished viewers, good day. I, Nana Kwame Abedi Champo, a proud student of Accra STEM Academy, speaking as the lead speaker for the proposition, national sovereignty remains a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. Indeed, it's a major obstacle. Let's call a spade a spade. It is not true sovereignty. It is stagnation disguised, limitation, and easy penetration for external forces. And until we are bold enough to loosen its grip, West Africa will remain 15 armies, 15 foreign policies, 15 markets, but zero unity. The chair, sovereignty limits the growth of businesses and SMEs. Businesses across West Africa faces different tax systems, regulations, laws, and currencies because each country wants full control over the economy. As a result, other countries trying to expand into another ECOWAS country may face limitations and difficulties. Also, sovereignty limits the implementation of the single eco currency because countries fear losing over the economy. As a result, Africa loses approximately $5 billion annually in exchange rate costs and transaction. And this is according to the internationalfinance.com. Ladies and gentlemen, sovereignty weakens youth empowerment and workforce mobility. West Africa has millions of talented people worldwide searching for jobs across borders. ECOWAS introduced free movement protocols, yet migrants and workers still experience harassment, deportation, and strict border checks. If a skilled worker from Senegal cannot easily work in Nigeria, or a Ghanaian tech entrepreneur finds it difficult to operate regionally, how can West Africa build a competitive workforce? Sovereignty builds invincible walls that limit regional opportunities for the youth. Another major point is security and political instability. West Africa faces terrorism, coups, and cross-border crimes that require collective actions. Yet, in spite of this, countries some governments reject ECOWAS intervention, claiming its violence their sovereignty. Recent coups in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger expose division within ECOWAS and weakens regional unity. A region cannot be said to be successful when member states refuse collective responsibilities during crisis. Cherished audience, sovereignty chooses borders over brotherhood. The Economic Community of West African States promotes free movement of people and goods across West Africa countries. Yet, whenever national interests are threatened, countries quickly return behind their borders. The opposition may agree that national sovereignty protects independence, culture, and national identity. However, the issue before this House is whether the war between us obstructs our oneness. And clearly it does. To my opponent, if sovereignty truly strengthens regional integration, why do West African countries continue to close borders during economic disagreements? Why was Nigeria able to suspend regional trade in 2019 border closure during ECOWAS agreement on free movement protocols? Why do military governments in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger repeatedly resist regional decisions in the name of sovereign unity? Ladies and gentlemen, these are not assumptions, these are realities. These are realities. The opposition may also claim that every nation has the right to protect its interests. Yes, that is true, we agree. But regional integration demands compromise, cooperation, and shared responsibilities. A region can only be said to be integrated regionally if countries do not prioritize national control over collective strength. As Kwame Nkrumah wisely stated, Africa must unite, not perish. So I ask an important but simple question. Since West Africa cannot cooperate fully during trade crisis, political instability, and security threats, can we deceive ourselves that sovereignty is not obstructing integration? For unity, for regional integration, for a strong West Africa, I firmly support the motion. National sovereignty remains a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. Thank you.
Together we stand and divided we fall. Chairperson, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I warmly welcome all of you before the House of the Motion. And I quote, national sovereignty remains a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. End of quote. Chairperson, before I begin, I would like to explain some key terms. National sovereignty. It refers to the ideas and rights a country has to govern itself. Regional integration. It refers to the process where countries in a specific geographical area work together to strengthen economic, political, and social ties. All this means cooperation and collaboration among neighboring countries. Chairperson, to begin, countries work together in ECOWAS without losing control of their country and affairs. Since the implementation of ECOWAS in 1975, there has been no country that has been able to stand out to say, I lost the right to govern my country for joining ECOWAS. There has been none, and I wish there will be none. Furthermore, less expectation of signing of protocols. I think if there is something to be signed, you have to read through, know what it entails. But there have been 80+ signed protocols in the ECOWAS. Why didn't they abandon that if it didn't have anything strong to give every country? Sovereignty strengthen integration outcomes. Sovereignty, as I said, strengthen integration outcomes. When countries come together, they sit and then bring out ideas. When a country brings its idea, another country brings its idea. The member of that country will carry a lot of message back to his country to govern it and make the country a better place. Moreover, for infrastructure, as my fellow debater said, he mentioned something of traveling from a country to the other. I think it's because of poor infrastructure. The roads are not well for cars to be moving and then other stuff. So that should be the answer to your question. Political instability and coup. My fellow debater stated something about Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and Niger. The conflicts that, the reason behind they leaving ECOWAS is not because of national sovereignty. They left because of their political instability. So, my fellow debaters, I think I've answered your question. Countries voluntarily join regional organizations. ECOWAS didn't force any West African country to join. They joined willingly because the motive behind it was for the right purpose. Freedom of movement without visas. Members of West African countries travel across West African countries without visas, which helps trade and then other activities to move on peacefully. Freedom of withdrawal. In the article of ECOWAS, it states something about the withdrawal of members. You are free to withdraw from the ECOWAS. If it has something to do with pressure, why would they have an article of withdrawal? So I think this shouldn't be a point to your motion. So, chairperson, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I strongly believe that national sovereignty is not a major obstacle to regional integration. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, honorable panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, worthy co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I'm Emrada Elomdochi of Accra STEM Academy, and I proudly take my stance as a second speaker in full support of the motion national sovereignty remains a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. Mr. Chairman, my first speaker has already established how national sovereignty slows down cooperation in West Africa. I am here to strengthen our case and expose the weaknesses in the argument of the opposition. First of all, the opponents claim that sovereignty protects the independence and identity of countries. Mr. Chairman, nobody's asking countries to deny or lose their identity, but I ask the opposition, what is the essence of sovereignty? What's the essence of sovereignty when the region remains divided, economically unstable, and politically weak? Integration does not destroy identity. Rather, it builds strength through unity. The opposition argue that countries must put their citizens first before regional interest. Mr. Chairman, regional integration itself benefits citizens. Free trade creates jobs, free movement creates opportunities, and cooperation strengthens security in West Africa. So if leaders continuously reject regional agreements in the name of sovereignty, are they really protecting their citizens or are they limiting their opportunities? Again, the opposition tells us that ECOWAS has achieved successes despite sovereignty. Yes, there have been some achievements, but progress has been painfully slow. Why? Because countries refuse to let go little portion of authority for the common good of their citizens. As economics, Adebayo Adedeji once said, without regional cooperation, Africa cannot achieve meaningful development. Mr. Chairman, the evidence is clear. Excessive national sovereignty delays cooperation, weakens trade, slows decision-making, and limits unity in West Africa. Why are ECOWAS protocols still not fully implemented after decades? Mr. Chairman, let me remind this House about the ECOWAS Free Movement Protocol. It was introduced to allow West Africa to travel, trade, and settle freely across member states. But today, travelers still face harassment at borders, illegal charges, and unnecessary delays. Some countries even tighten borders whenever national interests are threatened. Is this not clear evidence that national sovereignty is standing in the way of integration? Clear example was the 2019 border closure by Nigeria against neighboring countries like Benin and Niger. Mr. Chairman, this action disrupts trade across West Africa and affected thousands of traders. If countries can suddenly shout borders whenever national interests are threatened, then why can true regional integration exist? Another argument the opposition raised was that stronger regional control may allow powerful nations to dominate weaker ones. Mr. Chairman, cooperation is not domination. In fact, with the wise words of Julius Nyerere, who said, "Unity will not make us lose our identity, it will strengthen us." That is exactly our point. Regional integration does not destroy sovereignty completely. It simply requires countries to cooperate beyond selfish national interests. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, worthy opponents, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am in the person of Helena Kofi, a proud student of Afraha Community Senior High, and I stand firmly against the motion that, and I quote, national sovereignty remains a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. The key issue here is economic weakness. Economic weakness is a bigger challenge. Most West Africans struggle with poverty, debt, unemployment. These financial difficulties make it hard to fund regional projects like railways, industries, and energy system. The real obstacle here is lack of resources, not sovereignty. The chair, let's be clear about what we are debating. Citizens themselves support regional integration. Many ordinary West Africans want easier movement, more jobs, and better trade opportunities. We have seen that students seek scholarship in neighboring countries, whilst workers move across borders for employment. Public support for integration proves that sovereignty is not the main issue. As a result, other regions succeed while still maintaining sovereignty. Countries around the world cooperate regionally without giving up their independence. Members of the European Union still maintain their national identity and government while enjoying cooperation. The chair, moreover, colonial borders created economic imbalance. Some countries are richer in natural resources while others are poorer. This imbalance has affected cooperation more than sovereignty does because the weaker economy depends heavily on the stronger ones. My contention is that language barrier is a greater obstacle. West Africans comprises of English-speaking, French-speaking, and Portuguese-speaking people. Communication difficulties sometimes slows down cooperation more than sovereignty does. Again, sovereignty promotes healthy competition. Countries compete economically, which can encourage innovation and development. We have seen that Ghana and Cote d'Ivoire compete in the production of cocoa while still maintaining cooperating regionally. Crucially, trade barriers are mostly administrative. Many delays come from custom producers and weak policies, not sovereignty. The chair, furthermore, sovereignty encourages accountability. National governments are directly responsible for their citizens. Giving away too much power could reduce accountability. In fact, fear of dominance is the real issue. Smaller countries sometimes fear the powerful ones. We have seen that Nigeria's large population sometimes makes the small states cautious. Ultimately, cooperation and sovereignty can coexist. A country can remain sovereign while still supporting regional integration. The two are not enemies. We have seen that ECOWAS members cooperate on health, education, and security without losing independence. Therefore, I strongly believe that national sovereignty is not the main obstacle. Thank you.
Abena loaded her trunks with tomatoes and set off from Accra for Abidjan, full of excitement of making millions of cedis. A journey of about 600 kilometers, a journey that on paper should have taken less than 8 hours, lasted rather more than 4 whole days, not because the road had failed her, not because her track had broken down, but because at every border transit, Ghana to Togo, Togo to Benin, Benin to Cote d'Ivoire, uniformed officers representing the full weight of their national sovereignty stopped there, demanding documents that ECOWAS protocol had long written off, and levy charges that no regional integration had authorized. And when she tried to protest, citing the ECOWAS trade liberation scheme she had every legal right to invoke, one officer was quick to retort, "This is not ECOWAS, oh, this is my country." 4 days, tomatoes rotten, hopes dashed, income lost, and a regional integration rendered laughable at the roadside. That officer was not just a rogue actor, but the living embodiment of what this debate is about. A system in which national sovereignty is not just a political principle, but a daily weapon used against the very people that regional integration was designed to liberate. ECOWAS was founded in 1975 with a bold dream: one West Africa, moving freely, building freely, and trading freely. 51 years later, Abena is still waiting at the border. Mr. Chairman, esteemed panel of judges, impartial timekeeper, head of institutions present, hard-working facilitators, guests, co-debaters, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am in the person of Amopa Edna, a proud student of Accra STEM Academy, and today I rise to firmly support the motion that national sovereignty remains a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. For 51 years, West Africa has sought about integration. For 51 years, we've signed agreements in Abuja, Dhaka, and Accra. For 51 years, we've promised one market, one people, and one future. And for 51 years, nothing has changed. West Africa has the institution, she has the agreement, but what she's lacking is the will to implement. My opponent has given you the details, the statistics, and the promises, but they haven't answered the one question that matters. Why does every country at its own borders? National sovereignty, we were told that it means independence, but what kind of independence leave us poor, insecure, and dependent on the outside world? What kind of independence means that a trader in Tano cannot sell in Lome without bribes and delay? Vote for this motion, because until sovereignty gives way, West Africa cannot win in the 21st century. West Africa must wake up from sovereignty slumber. With the reference to the above mentioned evidence, sovereignty is indeed a major obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, co-debaters, a great timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I, Janet Enab Stanley, of Afara Community SHS Senior High School, a rebuttal of the opposing team, conclude by saying, language barriers are a great obstacle. Sovereignty promotes healthy competition. Trade barriers are mostly administrative. Citizens themselves support regional integration, poor infrastructure, economic inequality among members. Other regions succeed while maintaining sovereignty. Fear of dominance is the real issue. Economic of weakness is the bigger challenge. Cooperation and sovereignty can coexist. Colonial borders created economic imbalance. Free movement without visa. Sovereignty encourages accountability. No formal complaints on record. Freedom of withdrawal. Chairman, chairperson, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, fellow debaters. I therefore conclude by saying national sovereignty is not an obstacle to regional integration in West Africa. Thank you.
Let's give all of them a round of applause while they go to their seats. So we are done with round one, and we'll be moving to round two. But before then, we are supposed to have a musical interlude, but it seems our machine room is not having the full complement of staff to give us that. But before that, so kindly take your seats. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. When I was their age, secondary school, if I had the courage to do what they are doing now, I might probably be a motivational speaker. So let's clap for them again. Let's clap for them again. So we will take this opportunity to acknowledge the presence of Mr. Sam Alidu Abdullah. He's a rep of the DG of WAMI. So right here, please. Let's clap for him. And to our Ambassador Harold Adlajiman, our COD. For those of you who watch a lot of CNN, you will have seen him as our rep at the UN. Let's clap for him. Thank you. Now, we are to give our judges a few minutes to tabulate their marks while we move on to the second round of the debate. The topic is unconstitutional change of government. Is the main reason West Africa remains one of the least integrated regions in the world. Unconstitutional change of government is the main reason West Africa remains one of the least integrated regions in the world. And the motion for will be Chemu Senior High School. For, let's start for them as they make their way to the stage. And Odogono SHS, who will be against. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them until they get to the stage. Chemu is for. Let's clap for them. Odogono against. Let's give our judges a few minutes to tabulate their marks, and then we will begin the second round. I'm tempted to give the microphone to Accra Academy to give us a jama, but I'm afraid they will hit at my school again. Accra, can you lead us in one more jama? One that doesn't attack my school, just about Accra or general jama. Can we get that? The next round. So which school will lead us in this round? Pardon? STEM. Which school? Accra people say they are going to put their chorus together out there. So they've left us for a few minutes. So which school is going to lead us? STEM. All right. Are we going to get one from STEM? Or faculty? STEM. Oh, STEM. But unanimous decision. Where's the microphone?
For time.
Emmanuel, kindly give it to STEM to give us one short jama.
Oh, it's not me.
Achade. Jesus Christ is the conqueror. Singing hallelujah, amen, amen. Jesus Christ is the conqueror. Singing hallelujah. Oh, Jesus Christ is the conqueror. Singing hallelujah. Amen, amen. Oh, Jesus Christ is the conqueror. Saved by grace, not by might, not by might. Saved by grace, not by might. Everybody stand up across them. Saved by grace, not by might, not by might. Saved by grace, not by might. So I see Jesus Christ is the conqueror. Sing hallelujah, amen, amen. Jesus Christ is the conqueror. Hallelujah, amen. Kotoje. Back to Tachama. Back say irradiate. Ayura Kotoje. Over to Accra.
Thank you. So we will now move to the second round of the debate on constitutional change of government. Is the main reason West Africa remains one of the least integrated regions in the world. No announcement. I'm waiting for you to sit down. So we will now give the floor to Chemu. The judges say 1 more minute, so we will go back to our Jama mistress to give us 1 more. Let's clap for her.
Yes.
Let's all join in.
Fakos come out from the road. We no get break. Chemu come out from the road. We no get break. St. Mary's come out from the road. Hey, we no get break. Accra come out from the road. Oh, we no get break. If we knock you, you go die. If we crash you, you go die. If you head you, you go die. If we chase you, you go die. Kakara for the road. Carry Holy Ghost. We no get break. Accra come out from the road. Hey, we no get break. Shemu come out from the road. We no get break. Fakos come out from the road. We no get break. If we head you, you go die. And if we chase you, you go die. Everybody come out from the road. We dey carry Holy Ghost. We no get break. If we crash you, you go die.
Thank you so much, Accra STEM Academy. You do all. Another round of applause for them, please. Are we ready, please? Okay. So Accra STEM Academy, no. Chemu, SHS, and Odogono.
The chair, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, co-debaters, I am Francisca Najili Kwashi, principal speaker from Chemu Senior High School. Speaking in support of the motion I quote, unconstitutional changes in government is the greatest challenge to regional integration in West Africa. The chair, before I start, can you permit my team members to present you with verifiable facts to everything we have to say to you today? Thank you very much. The chair, before we delve into the heart of this argument, let's explain what we mean by regional integration. Regional integration, according to the IG Global Science, is where two or more countries decide to cooperate in order to achieve cross-border success, investment, and economic growth for their region. And unconstitutional change in government, according to the African Governance Report 2023, is where an unconstitutionally elected government is overthrown. However, the chair, how can you integrate a house when the pillars of that same house are fallen one by one? Or when a military junta decides to overthrow a politically elected government? How do we call that regional integration? The chair, my opponents may come here and tell you that you can build a stable house on a shifting volcanic sand. But please, don't be misled by that dangerous assumptions, because even the cold truth from the IMF and the World Bank says that if a region wants to unite together to become regionally integrated, they need solid facts and they need resources and staff to stand together. Thank you. To my first point, the chair, unconstitutional changes in government causes erosion of democracy. It causes a wild security vacuum in Ghana. Please let's look at this. When coups happens, the military of the country that is supposed to protect our borders and defend us, they rather think about the internal regime and how to sustain it. Is this what we're talking about? Well, let's look at this proof from Amani, Africa. It documented that a massive gap has been created for extremists to be thriving. Is this what we want as a country? After all, ladies and gentlemen, how can you say you want to secure a future and build a regional integrated West Africa when our leaders are just too busy taking care of their own palaces and defending their own borders? To my second point, the chair, true integration belongs to the citizens who need to feel safe and protected, and not just the leaders in power. But unconstitutional changes in government crushes this by causing widespread violation of human rights. According to Amnesty International, it has been documented that many people in the world of West Africa have faced tragic death and a lot of things because of this. But please, Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, they are showing us that grim reality that the bullets are much stronger than the ballots of every citizen in the West African economy. Please, if you want to integrate a house, you need to protect the people. Because they say, divided we fall, but together we stand. Thank you. Lastly, true integration is not just about shared political foundation. It's about something that demands our power, it demands our will, and it demands our unity together. According to the ECOWAS Protocol Movement Democracy, it explicitly states that the mandate on democracy is rule, but unconstitutional changes in government is leading to that erosion of democracy. People no longer feel free to talk their ways. People no longer say, oh, I am this, I am proud to be part of the West African economy, but rather, they talk about something else. And do you know what it is? Those governed by the law are speaking the rule of law, separation of powers, but those governed by the barrel of the gun, they are speaking a different language. How can these two people come together to form a united West Africa when there's no even peace because we don't speak the same language? These unconstitutional takeovers are just breaking our fundamentals. They are causing something that we don't even think of as people. But unity is dividing. We are standing here today not just to talk about it, that democracy erosion is nothing to talk about, but we are standing here that erosion of democracy is just the death of the people that we are ignoring because we voted for them. The ballot is much stronger than the barrel of the gun. In conclusion, the chair, our opponents will stand before you to argue that economic poverty, poor infrastructure, regional integration is West Africa. If you want a united West Africa, please let's look at the side. Please side with us. The fact is that we are addressing the true causes to regional integration in West Africa. So please side with us because we have given you verifiable facts to every point we have stated. Thank you very much.
Chair, panel of judges, precise timekeeper, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I humbly still unable to integrate. This goes to show that unconstitutional change is not the greatest factor affecting regional integration, but one of the many factors affecting it that need to be addressed, and these are my reasons for opposing the motion. The chair, poor means of transportation is a major obstacle to regional integration, as many West African countries lack good roads, which makes it difficult for goods and people to move freely from one country to another. This is seen in the Lagos-Abidjan Highway project, involving countries like Nigeria, Benin, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and Togo. This project has faced delays due to factors such as poor road conditions, funding, and border congestions, which has greatly delayed movement across this region. Traders also transporting goods from Ghana to Burkina Faso often experience bad roads and long waiting times at border checkpoints, which reduces business efficiency and just increases their transportation costs. Countries and on their borders, creating instability and reduced trust among member states. The
The terrorist attack also by extremist groups in the Sahel region have created instability in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger. These attacks have forced many people to flee their homes and hence has affected trade between many West African countries. The activities also of the Boko Haram in northeastern Nigeria and nearby countries like Chad and Niger have also caused insecurity, making cross-border movement and trade among West African countries difficult. These examples clearly show that security threats deter regional integration, as many West African countries will tend to prioritize their own national survival over cooperation with states affected by terrorism. The chair, another obstacle facing regional integration is the barrier of language. This creates communication gaps that hinder economic and social unity. When neighboring countries in the ECOWAS do not share a common language, the negotiation of trade agreements becomes slower and costlier due to the need for translation. This is mostly seen at Economic Community of West African States meetings, where these meetings often require translation because the member states do not share a common language. Also, traders sometimes go to French-speaking countries like Togo, Benin, and Cote d'Ivoire to do business. And it is amusing to know that a trader from Ghana can go all the way to a French-speaking country like Togo and interacts confidently in English, only for the salesperson to reply so fast in French that the Ghanaian trader just smiles and starts nodding without understanding anything. Ultimately, without a common linguistic bridge, building a cohesive regional identity and achieving deep economic cooperation remains highly challenging. The chair, my last reason for opposing the motion is poor communication network connectivity. In this modern age, communication networks are a crucial asset in regional integration as they bridge the gaps between isolated nations. Modern infrastructure such as fiber optic cables and cross-border transport grids allow for the instant exchange of data, market capital, and market information. Thus, areas suffering from a digital division or fragmented networks remain economically isolated. So without proper communication network connectivity, integration which creates opportunity, innovation, development cannot be achieved without interconnectivity, which shows that poor communication network connectivity is a major factor affecting regional integration. The chair, panel of judges, co-debaters, accurate timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen, I hope the above raised points convince you that unconstitutional change, as stated by my opponent, is not the greatest challenge affecting regional integration. Yes, I agree that a gun to your head would deter you from cooperating with a nation. But is that just all? Is that all there is to it? We need to address the other factors to ensure a firmly grounded West Africa for us all. Thank you.
Yes.
The chair, panel of judges, impartial timekeeper, fellow debaters, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Millicent Namomo Afuti, and I stand before you to speak in favor of the motion before the House, and I quote, unconstitutional change in government is the greatest challenge to regional integration in West Africa. Terrorism, security threats, poor transportation, these are the issues my opponents have mentioned. But ladies and gentlemen, comparing these issues to an unconstitutional change in government is like comparing a slow disease to a fatal heart attack. Yes, they can both kill, but one does so instantly, while the other leaves room for treatment. To my first point, the misallocation and or loss of vital resources. When there is an unconstitutional change in government, a country's assets does not go to infrastructure or the betterment of the citizens. No, a chunk of the nation's wealth is put to helping the regime survive. A report by the Institute of Security Studies revealed that following a coup in Benin, a multi-billion-dollar Niger-Benin crude oil pipeline was hijacked by the military. Cotonou blocked exports, and Niamey shut down their valves in retaliation, causing both countries to lose vital transit and import revenue. Ladies and gentlemen, profits plummeted by 24% and imports by 34%. Such unnecessary loss should be avoided at all costs. Should it not? How can we integrate West Africa when neighbors are unwilling to cooperate with each other? Secondly, the chair, a country's economy declines severely when there is an unconstitutional change in government. A nation with a stable economy records continuous progress over months and years. But when that economy is seized by a military junta or another mercenary group, everything begins to go downhill. The currency loses its value. The stock market crashes and poverty reigns king over the people. Take Niger, for instance. A report by African Arguments revealed that following a coup in 2023, sanctions were implemented, state assets were frozen, a no-fly zone was imposed, and even the borders were closed, and even trucks that had already cleared paperwork were halted at the borders. Ladies and gentlemen, in a week, the price of staples doubled, and people were forced to line up in long queues just to purchase food items that were limited and had to be rationed. At the House, what country would want to cooperate with one whose people do not even have access to food? Lastly, the chair, unconstitutional change in government has led to the creation of other bodies that oppose ECOWAS. The Economic Community of West African States, established 51 years ago, aims to promote and preserve peace among its member states. So what do you think happens when some countries decide to remove themselves from this union and form their own? They create competition for this alliance, which has served as a crisis management organization in West Africa for the past 36 years. What has the Alliance of Sahel States done? It has crippled West Africa's geopolitical influence, shrunk its
The existence of trade restrictions and illegal trading activities continue to hinder this goal. Trade barriers such as high tariffs, numerous checkpoints, and complicated import restrictions make trading between West African countries more difficult and expensive. Trade barriers slow down the movements of goods and people across borders. It also discourages businesses from engaging in regional integration. The chair, it reduces trust among member states and slows the achievement of regional integration in West Africa. Mr. Chairman, in 2019, Nigeria closed its land borders to neighboring countries such as Niger, Benin, and Cameroon to reduce smuggling. This reduced regional integration and affected businesses in West Africa. Another point I would like to hit more on is economic differences among countries. The chair, economic differences among countries is another challenge to regional integration in West Africa. Member states of ECOWAS have different levels of economic development, industrial growth, and income. Some countries have stronger economies that help dominate industrial growth and investment opportunities, whilst other countries suffer with poverty, limited resources, and may fear becoming more dependent on more developed states. Mr. Chairman, some countries may sometimes even prioritize their own benefits instead of the collective goals of the region. The chair, according to the World Bank report in 2025, Nigeria has more than the accounted GDP of the state, which is around 307 billion, whilst the countries such as the Gambia has a nominal GDP of 3 billion. This paints a clear picture that there is difference in economic strength in member states, and we are saying that it affects the implementation of common economic policies. Mr. Chairman, another point is corruption. Corruption is also a major challenge to regional integration in West Africa. It weakens cooperation amongst member states of ECOWAS and slows the economic and social development of the states. Corruption occurs when public officials misuse their position for personal gains through bribery, embezzlement, favoritism, and fraud. In many West African countries, corruption affects the government institution, border operations, and trade activities. At border posts, corrupt practices such as illegal charges and bribery delays the movement of goods and services across the border. The chair, my opponent said something I would like to correct. My opponent said unconstitutional change in government causes erosion in democracy. But the chair, I beg to differ. The number of countries under constitutional governments exceeds the number of countries under unconstitutional rule. There is a saying that there is strength in numbers. So we are saying that a few nations under unconstitutional rule cannot cause instability in the region. This is why we are saying, and we will continue to say that unconstitutional change in governments cannot be the greatest challenge to regional integration. In a nutshell, I would like to emphasize that unconstitutional change is not the greatest challenge to regional integration. There are other challenges, as I stated.
The Chair, the House. I am Ian Joseph Augustine, the summarizer for the motion. The Chair, before I move on to my summary, permit me to make a few rebuttals. My opponent claims that language barrier is a cause or is a challenge to regional integration in West Africa. But the Chair, we are not disputing the fact that all these things are challenges. But the Chair, language barriers, when we come to our normal studies nowadays, we can see that most of our students, we learn French, some are even learning Arabic. The Chair, if you are telling me that language barrier is a challenge, the Chair, you are trying to tell us that all these things are fallacies. The Chair, we can debate currency reforms, infrastructure deficit, and trade tariffs all we want, but the hard truth is that you cannot build a common market on a foundation of shifting political sand. Coup and constitutional manipulations are the major problems destroying the foundation. This was a quote by Dr. Mohamed Chambers, former president for the ECOWAS Commission. Whilst West Africa faces structural hurdles, including infrastructure deficits, currency complexities, and extreme poverty, we say unconstitutional change in government is a fundamental challenge facing regional integration in West Africa. The Chair, these are some cogent points my principal and supporting speaker made. 1. Regional security vacuum. 2. Widespread violation of human rights. 3. Severe erosion of democracy. 4. Heavy distrust brew among the citizens. 5. Resources are lost and or misallocated. 6. There is massive decline in the economy's progress. And lastly, the creation of other bodies that oppose the ECOWAS. The Chair, we have provided you with credible and verifiable facts, and we know you will not be persuaded by the weak argument of our opponents. Thank you.
The Chair, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, fellow students, ladies and gentlemen, I greet you all. I am Precious Emmanuel, the second supporting speaker for Odogono Senior High, and I'm here with my team to fairly oppose the motion that says unconstitutional change in government is the greatest challenge to regional integration in West Africa. The Chair, ladies and gentlemen, I am here just to summarize all what my principal and first supporting speaker said. But before I do so, I would like to hit on some points that my opponents made. The Chair, my opponent said that the unconstitutional government has led to mismanagement of resources. But then, if unconstitutional government is kept and members of states are still not committed, the resources will still be managed, so it makes no difference. My opponent also said that there are other bodies that oppose ECOWAS. But if unconstitutional government is kept, and then member states are still corrupt, definitely there is somebody somewhere that is going to look for something to say about the name ECOWAS to tarnish its image and have his own way. Also, the chair, my opponent mentioned language barriers. How many of these traders were taught French when they were in school? And even with we that are being taught after school, how many of us speak the French fluently? Just few or not more. So language barriers really matter. The chair, my team made some points to defend our stance, and these points are: 1, poor means of transportation; 2, security threats; 3, language barriers; 4, economic differences among countries; 5, corruption and mismanagement; 6, trade barriers. The chair, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen. My opponents may say that all our points are just symptoms, but then to cure a disease, we have to find the symptoms. So why not start treating the symptoms before the disease becomes too strong to cure? And I hope all these points stated here have been able to convince you all that the unconstitutional change in government is not the greatest challenge to regional integration in West Africa, but it's just one of the many things that are worrying it. Thank you.
Thank you, Chemu Senior High School at Odogono. So let's give a round of applause as they take their seats. We'll now take a musical interlude before we head to the third round. federal government rather than separate national governments to achieve true integration. And the motion 4 is Accra Academy against St. Mary's Girls Senior High School. So let's clap for them as they come to the stage. Accra Academy and St. Mary's. The Bleo boys against their female school. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. Accra, St. Mary's. At least you guys be clapping for your own people now.
The chair, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen. I am Selwyn Sylvanus Corte, the principal speaker from Accra Academy, here to stand in favor of the motion which says West Africa needs a single federal government rather than separate national governments to achieve true integration. Ladies and gentlemen, before I begin, I'd like to highlight a few key words in the motion. They are: 1, a single federal government. According to the Encyclopedia Britannica, refers to a central governing authority that unites several states or countries as reflected in the Economic Community of West African States objectives, means a deep political, economic, social, and security unity where people, goods, opportunities, and ideas move freely without any restrictions. And finally, a separate national government, according to the United Nations Principle of States, refers to an independent national sovereignty which exercises its full authority over its own territory, laws, and policies without being subordinated to a higher regional government. Honorable judges, this debate seeks to educate us on whether West Africa's future depends on individual national sovereignty or building a federal system for deep integration. Today, West Africa is divided by borders, policies, and political interests, yet they share the same border history, culture, trade routes, struggles, and aspirations. Despite organizations like ECOWAS, true integration remains slow because every nation still prioritizes its own political interests over collective regional growth. Therefore, we argue that a federal system is the best way to genuine peace and unity. Now, I'd like to begin with my substantive arguments. First of all, it will lead to economic strength. Discourages investors. Businesses would face border delays, high tariffs, and inconsistent policies. With one federal government, there can be one common economic policy. Trade restrictions become easier. There will be an easier movement of laborers, and investors will start to see West Africa as one big economy rather than several split ones. Secondly, it will lead to stronger security and political stability. A federal authority would improve regional security and political stability. Currently, West Africa faces terrorism, coups, piracy, and cross-border crimes. A federal authority will Third, it would lead to free movement and African identity. A federal government would allow for freedom of movement and strengthen African identity. Many West African citizens face border restrictions, border harassment, visa restrictions, border harassment, and discrimination in neighboring countries. A federal government would allow citizens to live, work, study, and do business freely across the nation, which would improve cultural exchange, cultural exchange, and regional cooperation. Furthermore, it would allow for a greater global influence and bargaining power. Chair, another reason why we say that West Africa should have a federal system of governance is to increase its global power. Currently, many West African nations lack allow for a coordinated infrastructure development across West Africa. Today, many West African countries develop independently, leading to poor roads, inconsistent development, and terrible railway systems. A federal government would create a unified transportation system, better roads and railways, shared energy projects, and collective technological advancement. August, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, West Africa remains divided because we choose it to be so. Unless we decide to put down our collective differences and come together as one to act as a strong bloc, no one will take us seriously. For these reasons, I stand firmly for the motion. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, distinguished panel of judges, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I, Rahawa Seisiga, rise to oppose the motion, quote and unquote, West Africa needs a single federal government rather than separate national governments to achieve true integration. Integration does not require political merger. Cooperation is possible without sacrificing sovereignty. West Africa can work together while still maintaining independent national government. In fact, forcing a federal government upon over 400 million people with different histories, languages, economies, and political systems will create more problems than solutions. Firstly, West Africa is too diverse for a single federal government to function effectively. The region consists of 15 countries under the ECOWAS, speaking over 1,500 languages. Countries like Ghana and Nigeria are Anglophone-speaking countries, while Senegal and Mali are French-speaking. Guinea-Bissau speaks Portuguese. These linguistic and cultural differences are no small matters. Even countries with one dominant language still face internal political tensions. How much more of a union of 50 nations? Ladies and gentlemen, even the European Union, made up of highly developed countries, has struggled with deeper political integration despite decades of cooperation. In 2016, Brexit showed that many citizens feared losing national control. If wealthy European countries could not fully surrender sovereignty, why should West Africa rush into it? Secondly, a federal government would create dangerous power imbalances. Nigeria alone has over 220 million people, more than half of West Africa's population. Ghana has about 34 million people, while countries like the Gambia and Cape Verde have populations under 3 million. In a single federal system, Nigeria would naturally dominate politics, economics, and military decisions. This is like putting 15 students in a group project where one student controls more than half of the marks and resources. The smaller members would constantly fear marginalization. Integration should promote equality, not political intimidation. Thirdly, separate governments allow countries to solve their unique problems independently. The economic realities of Ghana are different from those of Niger and Sierra Leone. Ghana relies heavily on gold and cocoa exports, Nigeria on oil, and countries like Mali depend greatly on agriculture and mining. A single economic policy cannot effectively satisfy all these different national needs. For example, inflation in Nigeria rose above 30% in 2024, while Ghana and other countries face different economic pressures. Imagine forcing one central government to design one taxation system, one interest rate policy, and one national budget for 15 countries. The richer economies may feel burdened, while the poorer countries may feel neglected. Furthermore, West Africa's political instability makes a federal government risky. Since 2020, countries such as Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger have experienced military coups. Terrorism continues to threaten the Sahel region. Now imagine if one central federal government were destabilized. This crisis will affect the entire region at once. Separate governments act like fire breaks in a forest. If one country face political turmoil, the damage can be contained, but under one federal without forcing countries into one political state. Cooperation works better when nations willingly collaborate while preserving their identities. Finally, national identity matters. Citizens are Liberian. Flags, constitutions, cultures, and histories unite people emotionally. A forced federal government may create resistance, separatist movements, and ethnic tensions rather than unity. The integration is not about erasing borders overnight. It's about building trust, trade, infrastructure, and cooperation gradually. West Africa does not need one government, one giant government. It needs stronger institutions, accountable leadership, peaceful democracies, and better economic partnership. For this reason, I strongly oppose the motion. Thank you.
The Chair, Honorable Judges, I'm Kelvin Aramalko of Accra Academy and the first supporting speaker, here to further strengthen our case that a single federal government in West Africa will promote effective leadership, reduce regional inequality, and create long-term stability in West Africa. Honorable Judges, before I begin my extensive argument, allow me to debunk some of the points raised by my opponent. My opponent argued that a federal government system in West Africa will cause the erosion of sovereignty of federal government of different countries under West Africa. And to that point, I argue that sovereignty is completely meaningless if countries still suffer from poverty, if they suffer from insecurity, and if their citizens still suffer from a lack of stronger economies in their country. A federal government system does not erase countries, but strengthens them through cooperation. Another point raised by my opponent was that West Africa is too culturally diverse to be united under one federal system. And to that point, I argue that our diversity is not one of our weaknesses, but one of our greatest strengths. Different cultures can coexist under one system if there is shared unity, if there is inclusion and one common purpose in West Africa. Another point raised by my opponent was that there is no need for the existence of a federal government when there already exists an organization like ECOWAS. And to that point, I argue that why do we still face border restrictions and have policy conflicts? Going to show that partial cooperation is not a means of true integration. Honorable judgments, after clearing the atmosphere of this seat, allow me to do an extension on our side of the motion. Honorable judges, a federal government in West Africa is going to bring about effective leadership and better coordination in West Africa. Honorable judges, the introduction of a federal government system in West Africa is going to eradicate nations constantly arguing on every decision to take. It's going to bring in one central authority, which is going to bring the efficiency in regional coordination and the effectiveness in regional coordination. A federal government is going to bring in a unified leadership, a faster decision-making process, and it's also going to bring stronger implementation of development plan. Honorable judges, secondly, a federal government is going to bring in better youth employment and opportunities. With the introduction of the federal government, the youth will finally have a medium to contribute towards the development and the building of West Africa, because they'll finally have jobs to support West Africa's revenue, they'll finally have employment, they'll finally have opportunities and the skills and training and development they need to contribute towards the nation substantially. And for my third and final point, honorable judges, a federal government being introduced in West Africa will reduce the regional inequality that West Africa is facing today. All of
unity, prosperity, and free movement. But when we move from emotion to reality, we must ask, is political centralization truly the path to integration, or is it a shortcut that ignores the complexity of West African diversity and development challenges? Let me begin with a strong rebuttal to the assumption that a single federal government automatically guarantees integration. Integration is not the same as uniformity. We already have functioning frameworks such as the ECOWAS, which has promoted regional cooperation, open trade policy, and even free movement protocols. To my opponent, if integration were possible without a single government, how then has the ECOWAS achieved a visa-free travel agreement? The problem is not the absence of one government, it is rather the weak implementation of existing agreements and poor infrastructure linking our nation. Point 2. The danger of undermining national sovereignty and identity. West Africa is not a monolith. We are a tapestry of language, culture, colonial history, and political system. From Ghana's multi-party democracy to Senegal's involving democratic tradition, from Nigeria's federal complexity to the unique system of smaller states, our diversity is not a mistake that should be erased, but it is our strength to be managed. A single federal government risks concentrating power in one sector, inevitably rising concerns about domination by larger or more economically powerful states. And I ask, who decides which system becomes the standard? Who ensures that minority nations are not swallowed in the shadow of regional giants? True unity does not require the erasure of identity. If anything, forced political unification may unite resistance rather than cooperation, weakening the very integration it seeks to build. Mr. Chair, my third point is practicality and governance efficiency. A single federal government for West Africa is not only ambitious, it is administratively overwhelming. We are talking about over 15 countries, hundreds of ethnic groups, multiple legal systems, vastly different levels of economic development. How will taxation be harmonized fairly? How will security be coordinated across such a vast and diverse region? What happens when policy decisions made in central capital fail to reflect legal or local realities thousands of kilometers away? Mr. Chair, we do not need to imagine the risks. We already see them overly centralized states, struggling to regional inequalities and political tension. So I return to the central question. Do we truly need one government to be united, or do we need better collaboration between our existing governments? Unity is not built by dissolving borders, but it is built by strengthening bridges. For this reason, I strongly oppose.
The Chair, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen. I am Nana Kwekwe J. Boateng from Accra Academy, and the second supporting speaker here to summarize the points my team has raised in favor of the motion, and I quote, West Africa needs a single federal government instead of separate national systems to achieve true integration. The points raised were: 1. A single federal government would improve upon roads, systems, and educational progresses. 2. A federal system of government will promote intelligence sharing and resistance against terrorism attacks, coups, and cross-border crimes. 3. Citizens will be able to move, live, and work freely across West Africa, creating a sense of united development and unity. 4. A united West Africa will speak with one strong voice globally, improving trade deals and global respect. 5. A federal system ensures unified decision-making rather than separate national policies, slowing down development. 6. Resources and development will be evenly distributed across countries, reducing the gap between richer countries and poorer countries. 7. A larger integrated economy will make way for more jobs, educational access, and opportunities for the overall youth. 8. Unified planning would improve upon roads, railways, energy systems, and transportation, and also reduce the implementation of these same projects across countries that do not need them. Honorable judges, my opponents still cling on to sovereignty, independence, and tradition. But I ask, what is the value of independence without unity, without security, and without prosperity? Remember, true unity is not isolation, it is cooperation. In conclusion, the Chair, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, West Africa stands at a crossroad between continuous fragmentation and bold transformation. A single federal government is not just a political idea, it is a path towards freedom, stability, and unity we can no longer afford to ignore. For all these reasons, I, Nana Kwekwe J. Boateng, stand boldly in support of the motion that states West Africa deserves a single federal government rather than separate national government to achieve true unity, quote and unquote. Thank you.
Honorable Chair, panel of judges, distinguished opponents, and respectful audience, I, Daniela Inshra Otri, rise as the second supporting speaker for the opposition to strongly reinforce our principal speaker's case. The motion before us is dangerously flawed. West Africa does not need single federal government. Such a proposal would destroy democracy, ignite conflict, and undermine the very integration it claims to pursue. True integration is achieved through voluntary cooperation, not forced centralization. I will add two critical points to strengthen our position. Point 1, national sovereignty is non-negotiable. The motion asks us to imagine 15 sovereign nations voluntarily giving up their independence to become province of one federal state. This is politically impossible and morally wrong. Each West African nation fought hard for its independence. Ghana became the first African nation to gain independence in 1957. Nigeria gained sovereignty in 1960 after decades of struggle. Senegal, Cote d'Ivoire, and other all emerged from colonization with fierce pride in their nation. Ask yourself, would Nigerians willingly vote to become just another province in West African Federation? Would Ghanaians consent to lose their national identity? The answer is clearly no. National sovereignty is not a technical detail. It is the express will of millions of citizens who identify as Nigerians, Ghanaians, Senegalese, and so on. A single federal government will require abolishing the sovereignty by a light degree without genuine popular consent. This is undemocratic and illegitimate. True integration must respect and strengthen national sovereignty, not destroy it. Nations that cooperate voluntarily are stronger than nations forced into it. Point 2, a single government cannot manage 400 million diverse people. Let me be clear about the scale. 400 million people, 1,000 plus languages, 250 plus ethnic groups. In Nigeria alone, vastly different religions, cultures, and economic systems. The motion assumes one government can govern this effectively. This is administrative fantasy. Honorable Chair, esteemed panel of judges, co-debaters, true integration is built from the bottom up, respecting each nation's sovereignty. That is integration without. That is integration without dignity. With dignity, a false federal government is integration with control. So when they sorry.
Let us give our Accra Academy and St. Mary's a round of applause as they go to their seats. Let's clap for them while they go to their seats. More for St. Mary's and then for Accra. Before the final results are announced, we will take a musical interlude. And when we were playing the Kakalika song, some of you were seated and giving us some moves. Feel free to stand up and shake a bit. Or should we make it a competition based? Okay, wait. Those who want it, let's have a yes. Do you want it? Yes. And if you don't want to say no, the yes have it. Yeah. Okay, so let's try again. Those who want it, say yes as loudly as you. Okay. Those who want it, say no. Oh. There's more vim in the yes. So, we are going to put Kakalika on and we'll take a rep from each school. So, Accra Academy, who are you putting across? Accra, we have our contestant. Let's clap for him. Do we have a contestant from STEM? STEM. No, we do it down here. STEM. Chemu. Who is coming for Chemu? All right, we have two from Accra Academy. How many are we getting from STEM? Chemu, Frafraha, St. Mary's, Odogono. Let's have a Phoebe. Are we not getting a rep of STEM? Accra STEM. Is this all? I have taken this thing too personal. Presec. 15 years ago, I would have sued for Presec. Pardon? That's the competition. Then that's from Presec. I should dance for Presec. The kind of dance you guys will be doing over here, if I try it, I'll be able to wake up tomorrow. So for now, I'll be a spectator. So do we have a kakalika? Oh, pardon? What song? Kakalika, right? No, their song is going to be agreed upon by those contesting. The rest of you will clap and support them. Is it Kakalika? You're good with Kakalika? Okay, let's go. Please, come here. Let's spread across. Is he staying? Okay. Is he staying? Is he staying? Okay, wait. Okay. Let's try it again. We'll start with the yes and no. Those for yes. Those for no. Those for yes. Those for no. No. I am my panel of judges are saying that it's a yes for her. You see, the Accra boys are saying no. But you know I'm against you people. Is she saying? No? Okay. Yes? No? Yes? Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes? No? Yes? No? All right, it looks like it's a tie for all of them because they are all good. So we are going to spread them out. Last dance, and then we get a final declaration. So, a song, please. You so much. I mean, they are all winners. They all give us a good show. Let's clap for them while they go sit down. Let's clap for them. Come on. Let's clap for them. We will now have the announcement of the overall winner. Announcement of results.
So, Mr. Chairman, judges, distinguished guests, debaters, students, ladies and gentlemen. When I was debating, I used to say that today's occasion marks the end of Pocus Pocus and fiduciary display, that the display is the day of the dawn, the conception of the scars, and the delivery of intelligence. That's how I used to start, but I'm no longer there, so. So I was just enjoying the. Yes, so I was so much enjoying the debate that. Yes. So if you ask me, almost everybody have won. All the schools have won the debate. But in a context, at least you will have one or two who will virtually emerge to the next stage. So I believe strongly that the judges have spoken, and we have the details of what the judges, each judge has spoken about. But we have aggregated the numbers so that we'll get the next round of competition and which schools will be competing. Ladies and gentlemen, we had 6 schools that competed, and by the language of the judges, the safe school is Frafraha Senior High School with 301 points. 301 points. The school that has emerged 5th position is Chemu Secondary School with 306 points. 306 points. The 4th is Accra Academy. With 349.3 points. The 3rd school is Adogono Secondary School. With 357.7 points. The runner-up for this turn of rounds is St. Mary's Secondary School with 360.5 points. And finally, the overall for this round is Accra STEM. Scoring 365.5 points. Yeah. So, Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, debaters, fellow students, the context has reached its climax, and it's going to be a very serious titanic agog between the 2 schools, St. Mary's Secondary School and Accra STEM Academy. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. So now, the final round of debate is the ECOWAS Protocol on the free movement of people and goods after 51 years. Is it a myth or a reality? So we'll now call on the reps of the schools to come over here to pick, to ballot. But there are only 2 items here. 4 against, okay. So I read from St. Mary's and Accra STEM. After they pick, St. Mary's is for against. St. Mary's against and Accra STEM is for. So let's welcome them on stage with a round of applause as we begin the final stage. And this is the final stage, so we are clapping until they get up here because they have done so very well. Let's clap for them. Accra STEM and St. Mary's. Let's clap for them. Odogono, Chemu, you guys are all clapping. Let's clap for them. You are all winners. The mouse. What? Where are they announced? Let's clap for St. Mary's as they mount the stage. So St. Mary's is going to argue that the ECOWAS protocol on free movement of people and goods after 51 years is a myth. And we are going to have Accra STEM arguing that it's a reality.
This is against. Mr. Chairman, distinguished judges, accurate timekeeper, invited guests, worthy opponents, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am Biba Realisa, a proud student of Accra STEM Academy, and I rise to state emphatically that the ECOWAS protocol on free movement is a reality. Myth is something imaginary and non-existent, but the ECOWAS protocol on free movement is neither a myth or a reality. It is legal, operational. It is legal, operational, and actively used. So for the motion, Mr. Chairman, distinguished judges, worthy opponents, accurate timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen, good day. I am Biba Realisa, a proud student of Accra STEM Academy, here to state emphatically that the ECOWAS protocol on free movement is a reality. First of all, a myth is something imaginary or non-existent, but the ECOWAS protocol on free movement is neither imaginary or non-existent. It is legal, operational, and actively used by millions of West Africans every single day. The protocol has transformed travel, trade, education, and employment across West Africa. While challenges exist, those challenges are not able to erase the enormous progress already achieved. Ladies and gentlemen, I stand here to prove that the ECOWAS protocol is a reality because the visa-free travel is real. The greatest success of the protocol is the visa-free travel across West Africa. A Ghanaian can travel to Benin, a Nigerian to Senegal, and a Cote d'Ivoire, and a Togolese citizen to Cote d'Ivoire, all without visa applications. And this freedom covers over 250 million people across 12 countries. So I say this is not a myth, this is a reality. Again, the ECOWAS passport exists and functions. Before the protocol, traveling across West Africa involved lengthy visa applications and complicated procedures. But after the protocol, the passport provides citizens with a shared regional identity and simplifies immigration procedures. Today, all ECOWAS member states issue the ECOWAS biometric passports. The passport provides citizens with a shared regional identity and simplifies immigration procedures across the region. The existence and practical use of this passport prove that free movement is already happening. That's to say, the phase one of this protocol is fully operational, which is to allow ECOWAS citizens to enter and stay in any other member states without a visa for up to 90 days. Millions of citizens travel for businesses, tourism, family visits, and conferences every year under this arrangement. If the protocol were a myth, this level of movement will not exist. My opponent, the right of establishment is fully evident in the Ghanaian traders who operate in markets in Lomé and Cotonou. Nigerians work in Ghana's technology and construction sectors. Burkina-based contribute to farms and construction systems. A myth is something imaginary and non-existent. Burkina-based workers contribute to farms and businesses across the region. Trade businesses, ECOWAS member states, facilitated significantly by free movement and valued at over 20 billion US dollars in recent years, a figure that grows annually. Mr. Chairman, distinguished judges, accurate timekeeper, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I stand firm and unshaken on the fact that the ECOWAS protocol is a reality rather than a myth. Thank you.
Honorable Mr. Chairman, accurate timekeeper, distinguished panel of judges, fellow debaters, ladies and gentlemen, the motion before the House today is the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement after 51 years, a myth or reality. And my name is Harmony Georgina, and my name is Amma Harmony Georgina, and the following are my references. UNECA and AUC Joint Report 2024, Wikipedia ECOWAS, updated September 2024, and UN Economic Commission for Africa, urgent need to reverse slow progress on ratifying the protocol on free movement of persons. Now, 51 years after the ECOWAS was founded in 1975, I cannot believe we are still debating whether West Africans can truly move freely across West Africa. And the honest answer is no, it is a myth. The ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement of Persons, Rights of Residents and Establishments was founded in 1979 with 3 phases: entry without visa, rights of residents, and rights of establishments. On paper, it's one of the most ambitious free movement frameworks in the world. But in practice, Mr. Chairman, it has collapsed under weak commitments, poor implementations, and persistent barriers at the border. So don't get me wrong, the rights of entry exist, but everything after it breaks down. So do not be persuaded when my opponents claim that the ECOWAS have single-handedly achieved visa-free entries into West African states. They say it's a giant leap for mankind. But my question is, are we going to keep moving or are we going to stand there like statues? The problem here is, beyond 90 days, the protocol is and cannot be enforced. Though efforts are still ongoing to abolish the 90-day stay limits, we are still where we are. This means that a Nigerian trader, an Ivorian plumber, a Ghanaian teacher can only enter any West African state for 3 months, then they hit a legal wall. The rights of residents and establishments remain stuck in national laws. So we forget that yes, the ECOWAS have achieved visa-free entry, but individuals are so subjected and answerable to the laws of the various West African states. Now, harassment and bribes and ignorance are still the norms at the various borders. Studies on the Ghana-Sierra Leone border have shown that many immigrants from the member states are still harassed at the borders. Immigration officers often do not know the ECOWAS protocols themselves, and many immigrants travel without documents because the officials do not recognize the valid ECOWAS travel papers. This is not a technical glitch. It is lack of commitment and resources at the street level where the protocol is supposed to work. You cannot call it free movement when your freedom stops at a random roadblock and a bribe. Now, ratification and political will are missing. At the continental level, the African Union's free movement, which builds on ECOWAS, have only been ratified by 4 countries to date. Even within the ECOWAS, the problem is the same. Overlapping membership, job loss concerns, security fears, they all make states reluctant. So in 2024, the African Union termed this as a significant gap between inspiration, aspiration, and implementation, and this gap has not been closed, it has been institutionalized. Now, another thing I want to say is, yes, the monitoring committee exists, but their work is vague and the data that they obtain is not credible. And without credible on migration flows, states cannot manage mobility, and the officials often become suspicious, hence they deny individuals access and entry into various states. Now, ECOWAS has launched new strategies for 2025 to 2030, but strategies do not move people, and you and I know that. People move when borders, laws, and officials align. Right now, they do not. Ladies and gentlemen, a protocol that only works for 90 days, that relies on bribery at borders and is unknown to officials to enforce it and has failed to secure ratification for its own organization cannot be called a reality, and you cannot convince me so. It is a myth maintained for political convenience. ECOWAS talks integration, but West Africans still need visas to pay bribes and face harassments to work and build across the region they are told is free. Until member states match political speeches with domestic legal reform, training and accountability at borders, the ECOWAS free movement will remain a myth. It will be what we call today a promise on paper and a myth in practice. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, co-debaters. Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name Jihad Dewa Adeti. As my principal speaker said earlier, I also rise to firmly support the motion that the ECOWAS protocol free movement is reality. Here is a summary. The 1979 ECOWAS protocol legally grants all 50 member state citizens visa-free entry for 90 days, backed by physical instruments like ECOWAS passports and travel certificates. Again, millions of West Africans already live and work across borders legally. Nigerians in Ghana, Malians in Cote d'Ivoire, driven by cross-border trade and labor. This mass movement is only possible because the protocol is functional. For my opponent to ask those questions revealed the fact that they have not read the AUFMP talkless of reading on the ECOWAS free movement. My opponents complained of illegal checkpoints and bribery at the borders. True, there was bribery at the borders of EU in the 1980s too. But it took 40 years, I repeat, 40 years for Schengen to work smoothly. They said Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger have fled. Sad but true. However, 12 countries remain representing 250 million people. You don't declare a marriage a myth because 3 out of 15 couples divorced. The chair, my opponent said borders closed during election. Also true, but those closures are temporary and often challenged by ECOWAS. Even in European Union, Schengen is suspended during terrorist threat. Temporary suspension does not erase the existence of the system. Panel of judges, intra-ECOWAS trade is only 12%, while in EU it is 60%, all because we are not fully integrated. The price of ratification is slow because people like my opponents remain conservative. The protocol is a gateway to wealth where availability of one product in ECOWAS country is an availability to all member states. Where an entrepreneur customer is within reach, where together we can push poverty out of reach, the hesitation from one citizen delay the process. Now is not the time to be educating my opponents, but as brothers, I will gladly take them along. No wonder they say nothing comes easy. Today, I reiterate the fact that ECOWAS free movement protocol is a reality. And the earlier they join, the better. So, Chair, the ECOWAS protocol is not on paper only. It's a Ghanaian student in Accra, the Togolese trader in Abidjan, the Nigerian engineer in Dhaka. Imperfect, yes, but a myth, no. I urge you to uphold the motion. The ECOWAS protocol on free movement is a reality. Thank you.
Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, my fellow opponents, ladies and gentlemen, I, Kalin Anadra Chumwayebwa, the supporting speaker, stand here to strongly stand for the motion. Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeeper, ladies and gentlemen, I, Kalin Anadra Chumwayebwa, stand here to debate on the motion, quote and unquote, the ECOWAS protocol on free movement is more of a myth than reality. I firmly believe that over 5 decades, the direction of true free movement in West Africa remains more of a myth than a reality. Ladies and gentlemen, a reality is something a citizen can enjoy confidently, consistently, and freely without any form of intimidation or frustration. But can an average trader from Ghana travel through West Africa today without any form of harassment, delay, extortion, or intimidation? Can a young graduate from Liberia easily settle and work in ECOWAS country without endless immigration frustrations? If the answer is correctly no, then how can we call the protocol a success, or better still, a reality? Yes, ECOWAS introduced the Free Movement Protocol in the year 1979 to allow citizens free visa entry, residence, and establishments within member states. On paper, it sounds beautiful, but in practice, the story is very different. Policies are not judged by speeches at conferences, they are judged by experience of ordinary people. According to the ECOWAS Commission, leaders are still conducting border assessments to identify obstacles preventing smooth movements of people. During a visit to the busy Niger-Benin border, ECOWAS officials admitted that there are still numerous barriers showing trade and movement barriers. If this still consistently happens, it will prevent unity and development. And talking about development, this leads us to the trade, whereby this obstacle prevents trade between borders between people in different countries in West Africa. Mr. Chairman, if after 51 years, officials are still trying to remove barriers, then the protocol has clearly not become a full reality. Let us consider the issue of corruption and harassment at borders. Travelers across West Africa frequently complain about illegal checkpoints and unofficial payments. In May 2025, the president of ECOWAS himself condemned the practice of borders officials demanding money from travelers without proper receipts. Now, I ask, what kind of free movement forces citizens to pay bribes in order to cross borders? A Nigerian trader transporting tomatoes to Ghana or a Ghanaian businessman traveling to Cote d'Ivoire often spend hours or even days at borders. Some transport drivers might jokingly say they carry border money in their pockets before beginning trips. Is that freedom? Distinguished audience, another proof the protocol is more of a myth than reality is the low level of intra-regional trade. Despite having over 400 million people and huge economic potential, trade among ECOWAS countries remain poor. In 2025, the ECOWAS Commission admitted that intra-regional trade in West Africa hovers around only 12%. Compare this with the European Union, where intra-regional trade exceeds 60%. If free movements were truly effective, shouldn't trade amongst West African countries be flourishing? Even more worrying is the withdrawal of Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger from ECO in 2025. The countries still enjoy temporary movement privileges only because ECOWAS fears complete regional fragmentation. My worthy opponents may argue that citizens can travel visa-free within the region. Yes, visa-free entry to some extent, and we acknowledge that achievement. But free movement is more merely entering another country for 90 days without intimidation. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers. Mr. Chairman, panel of judges, accurate timekeepers, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I go by the name Mustafa Amir Mohammed. The ECOWAS protocol is not perfect, but perfection is not a measure. Of reality. Rome was not built in a day. Ladies and gentlemen, a system that lets 250 million people across borders without a visa, that issues a shared passport, that lets citizens sue stays in court, is not a myth. It's a reality we must defend and improve. The protocol has already removed visa barriers, enabled millions to travel, promoted trade, encouraged education, and strengthened regional identity. The challenges we see today are implementation problems, not that the protocol is fake. The chair, allow me to tell my fellow Gen Zs that the ECOWAS Free Movement Protocol is not a TikTok video that can be uploaded in seconds. It's a 400 million, I repeat, a 400 million person project that requires a lot of consideration and adequate implementation. That reality runs in our blood, and that reality has a name, West African. No myth ever carried a mother and child across a border, so call it imperfect, never call it fake. We are 400 million reasons this is real. The border didn't stop us, neither will this debate. Perfection takes time, but freedom is already here. A system used daily by millions of people cannot be called a myth. Therefore, I firmly maintain that the ECOWAS protocol on free movement is a reality. Thank you.
Honorable Chairperson, esteemed panel of judges, co-debaters, ladies and gentlemen, I am Deborah Dansu, the summarizer of the Mary's team on the motion, the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement of People and Goods after 51 years is a reality or a myth. Our mission here is very clear, to dismantle any erroneous points to dismantle any erroneous arguments made by our opponents to credit the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement, and to prove that indeed the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement is indeed a myth. And I believe we have done just that. In doing so, we advance the following arguments. Point 1, the right of entry is not fully enforced across member states. Point 2, harassment and bribes at the borders remain a norm. Point 3, coordination failures make it unenforceable. Point 4, political will is missing. Point 5, implementation is terribly uneven. Mr. Chairperson, the ECOWAS Protocol on Free Movement is not a reality until borders stop being toll gates, until political will is found, until the right of entry is fully implemented, and until the laws and officials align. Thank you.
Let us give them a round of applause as they go to their seats. Thank you so much. Accra STEM Academy and St. Mary's. Let's clap for them. Let's clap for them. Well done. We will now wait for the tabulation of the results. But while we are doing that, we will pass the microphone around to a rep from each school to give us their impression of this year's debate and what they know about ECOWAS, or comments to be made. So the microphone, we will start with Accra Academy. Accra Academy. The gentleman over there, the one who was looking away. No, come this way. How's the Ambassador Jimmy? What you've learned about ECOWAS through this debate, your impression about ECOWAS and the debate you're having today. Stop moving the microphone around. No, you. Give it back to him. You. Something you picked up during this debate. Accra Academy. You say you are blue. You said, Presec, our uniform is dirty blue. Give us an impression of ECOWAS and what you heard today. Let's clap for him. Yes, sir.
what I learned today was that ECOWAS was established on the 28th of May 1975. And then it was established by two personnel, one from Nigeria and one from Togo. I also heard that though there are some misunderstandings between some of the West African countries in ECOWAS, we are still trying to make things better, more cooperation and stuff. But it doesn't seem like things are going to work out right now. We might need more time. And that's what I heard.
So the introduction of ECOWAS is a very nice idea the West Africa brought up, but it seems like implementation keeps failing because countries and other nations keeps on resisting because they want full control over the economy. I want us to put all the debates we did aside and focus on reality. Actually, ECOWAS is something that West Africa came together to make make Africa a united country, But if you are to put all the debates and focus on reality, ECOWAS is a very nice idea, but implementation keeps failing because country wants full control over the economy. ECOWAS was introduced to implement free movement, cooperation, and togetherness of all countries so that we can become one united nation. But it seems like it's not going as expected. And we are hoping that ECOWAS will continue to maintain its position and grow in the near future to come so that West Africa can develop into a better nation and a country.
Thank you. I like how the two contributors have pointed out that some work has been done, but more is to be done. So that falls on you, the younger generation. So, which school is next? Odogono.
Okay, so the topics given by this debate has made me learn a lot. And then I've got to know that ECOWAS was created with one purpose, to promote unity and integration among West Africans. But then all the things they've put down, some are not working, not because they haven't really planned well, but because of our own selfish desires. Our countries might not want something that everybody is going to benefit. They are only thinking about their own personal benefits. As citizens and then we as individuals are also looking at how we are going to benefit ourselves. So I feel ECOWAS is trying to do its best, but then there are other things that needs to be done. Yes.
Thank you, Odogono. What school is this? Fakosh. Who is going to? There, thank you.
I think today everybody did his or her best, and I think the ECOWAS should rather focus on the obstacles that the debaters listed. For example, the poor infrastructure, corruption, and poor leadership commitment, so that ECOWAS can stand for the benefits of all. Thank you.
Thank you, great Fakos. The next is Chemu. Chip, back there.
Hello. All right. So during this debate, I got
Okay. So other countries like United States of America. A question I always used to ask is that why is that other countries like UK and America, before you can work there and stay, you have to have a green card. And in Ghana, you can come in, settle, and do all sort of things without any card. But through this debate, I got to learn that it's because of the ECOWAS protocol. That's why people are able to move into Ghana anyhow and then do things. And about today's debate, it was cool, but it was like everyone was reading. So I didn't really feel the fire. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So hopefully the next one we can get you as a participant to give us more of an oration. Okay, an oratory presentation.
Hello, good afternoon. Yes, the lady tried to draw our attention to a very fundamental practice that we've all witnessed today. That has got to do with the presentation. And this goes to the organizers. The sector minister under whose roof we have gathered here, the Honorable Samuel Okujeto Ablakwa, is a fantastic debater. And anybody who has witnessed his debating prowess would attest to how he debates without even reading. I mean, debating is not about reading. So, for us as teachers and coaches who have witnessed readings as debates, we ask, what is the roadmap? How are we going to go beyond presentations that come in this form and that get handsomely rewarded as against, people who present without going through scripts? Thank you very much. So, we've gone through a series of this engagement. And so, when next time you want to have this opportunity, please spell out the roadmap. Let the rules, the criteria be clear. Are we going to read or are we going to debate? So that we can well prepared. And when you are scoring too, please, we don't just need the marks. Otherwise, how are you going to correct the mistakes? Let's know what you were looking out for. Please. Finally, before I sit, I also want to appeal to the organizers. You see, unless otherwise, and I want to be very advised on this, organizers or judges must be people who are English language inclined people. Yes. So that we will all be at one page.
All
right.
Thank you for your point.
Thank you.
Okay, St. Mary's. Which school is outstanding?
St. Mary's. I want to know the other one again.
All right. Since I think we've got some points and we got some information from you guys and feedback on what you learned and what you hope the next organization of the quiz should look like, a debate should look like. And your feedback is appreciated. We will now call on, now we will be giving out the prizes. And please, this way.
Thank you so much. I think ordinarily I wanted to just go straight to mention the marks, but I also want to contribute. Yeah. Let me say that I have been a debater from SS1, and I debated onto the universities. I say universities because as I stand here, I have about 4 different master's degrees, and I hold a PhD. Okay? So it's not debate, it's not necessarily English. Okay? It is how logical, chronological, and sequencing your arguments are. And how you make your arguments real to the topic at stake. And apart from that, your passion for the topic that you are debating on. That's why I buy the idea that we need people who can speak without necessarily looking and reading. I buy that idea perfectly. But these are young people who we are training. Okay? And there are several factors that is leading to why they cannot memorize to a certain extent. When I was in secondary school, okay, very critical people like Teddy Osori. I don't know if you have heard of Teddy Osori. He was my mate at Nandom Sec, okay? We didn't have anything like photocopier. There was no photocopier. There was no internet. There was no Google. And in the whole library, I read my first degree was mathematics and physics. I majored in maths and minored in physics. And my substantive degrees were in economics, development policy, law, and then foreign direct investment, okay? But I can tell you that at our time, there was only one chemistry book in the library. Anybody who knows about Aflayam is one of the best chemistry books, besides Lambert and Holderness. So you go and make sure you memorize the whole book before you leave the library. Because if you leave, the next person pick it, you won't get it the next 2-3 weeks. So somebody will go and pick that book, a flyer, and read it, get his note, everything. Because he hasn't finished, because we're only boys, it's a mission school I attended. Because he hasn't finished, or he had not finished, he will go and hide it somewhere. In English book, even though it's a chemistry book, so that he could come and pick it and rehearse it. And I'm telling you, just anybody who is free with Teddy Osori, you can find out. When Teddy Osori, those days when he's walking, there's this book we call Topics of West Africa. It was history. He'll be walking and he'll be memorizing that thing from the preface onwards. Now we have internet. Many of the students, as they are sitting here, anything you ask them, they will simply just Google. We didn't have that opportunity. So we were forced to memorize. So memorization is something else. Okay, so teachers need to take time to take some of the students through. Unfortunately, we just wait until competitions like this and we start them. But when we were in schools, we didn't start like that. Every day you were doing it. So even in school, you could do interclass, interforms, and all those kinds of things. Debate. You don't wait until this period when you want the person to memorize it. It can be highly problematic. So I agree with you that it will be very interesting if you have some of these debates. And the Honorable Akujatu Ablakwa, we all admire the way that he does his things in terms of debating. But I can tell you the Honorable Ablakwa have not started now. He started from the primary schools. And even at the university, we all knew when he was in Nooks, how his arguments were very sound and how he does it. So if you don't train the person, you don't expect that, But we are also, as judges, we were looking at mechanical accuracy and, of course, the semantics and separate semantics of the language. Okay, the order in which the language is also presented was also looked at. But, of course, we didn't need to bore you with, and we have a criteria that we use to evaluate whatever happened. For example, maybe just for the sake of So, for example, if you were to look at the principal speaker, for example, we were looking at certain areas. We were looking at how the person introduces the subject matter. We're looking at the confidence level of the person. We're looking at how the person is using the microphone, because the audience are very important. We're looking at the organization of even the thoughts themselves, how you organize your thought. We're looking at how you raise. We're looking at least a minimum of 3 points that have been raised. But we're expecting a maximum at least 5 points. So point 1, point 2, point 3, point 4, point 5. Then the appearance. And you see, when we talk about appearance in debate, it's not about the dress you wear. It's even about your entry and your exit. After the bell has been rung, how you start, and then the bell ends, how you return. Okay? So all that. And then we also looked at how you have concrete support for your evidence. So somebody, for example, was debating, and you saw that the person brought a script to show the evidence of where the person is quoting from. And then we also look at references, and then how you concluded. And then we came to the marks that we have scored. And of course, in terms of the second speaker, or the first supporting speaker, we're looking at almost similar things. And the third one, we're looking at similar things. So please take note of this, and don't think that the evaluation or assessment is just out of the blue. It is well planned, and we take our time to look at all these things that we are talking about. These are young people we are training, and so let's make sure that when we are training them, we give them the appropriate skills, the appropriate ethics and conduct wherever they find themselves, please. Thank you so much. So now let me look at the very enviable results. I told you that all the debaters, starting from the onset, the first round, second round, third round, everybody did very well. And if we have the chance, everybody should be given award. And I believe that the organizers would do same. But for the final round of debate, which involved St. Mary's Senior High School, and then the Accra STEM Academy, we had quite a number of ties, but fortunately it has been broken by the final speakers. So the first is that we had a point of 325.5 points, 325.5 points, and that point went to the STEM Academy. Let's give them a round of applause. 325.5. And then for St. Mary's, the judges have spoken. They scored a total of 383. So as the numbers are spoken clearly, the school that carried the day is St. Mary Senior High School. So thank you so much, and thanks also to the judges.
Thank you so much, sir. We are now going to give out the awards and prizes. And we'll call on Ambassador Harold Ajiman and Ambassador Grantin Tracker to help us to give out the prizes. And we will start with the 6th school. We will give out the cash, the certificates, the plaque, and the medals. Patrick here. Pardon. The sixth place is Frafraha Community SHS. And we'll take the debaters and the teachers to come on stage to take the prizes meant for the school. So you please go to our ambassadors. What's in this? It's general, so give it to them to them. So they are getting medals, they will get books, certificate of participation, and a plaque, and a cash prize as well. So Chemo is up next. Kindly get ready to come on stage for your prizes, your cash award. No, wait, they're not there yet. Okay, thank you. Let's start for them. So, Chemo will now please come on stage. The debaters and their teacher, or teachers. Give them what? Okay. Cool. Yeah, that's the last item to be good. What's the last item to be good? So no, after the medals, then the books, then the cash, then this is the last thing to be good. And there's also a cash donation to give to them, as well as the plaque. The whole team, please come on stage. The whole team. So the fourth place is Accra Academy. Let's clap for Chemuhadi. Sit down. Accra Academy. Accra Academy. All the debaters, come up please with the teacher. Accra Academy. Here. Odogono, kindly get ready to come up on stage. All the debaters and the teachers. Let's clap for Accra Academy. Odogono, kindly get ready. So let's wait. When they start. We're done. This way, please. Go to that side. Thank you. Odogono. Across them, kindly get ready with your teachers. Across them. For them, across them. The debaters.
Two teachers, please. Two teachers. No, please. Two teachers. You are giving me that. Two teachers. Two teachers. No, madam, two teachers on stage. Yes. I understand, but two teachers on stage, please.
St. Mary's Senior High School is up next, the winners. Shall we please get the debaters and their teachers? St. Mary's, they are the winners. They should be coming up with an ovation from all of us. St. Mary's Senior High School. The debaters and their teacher. St. Mary's Senior High School, the overall winners of the 4th inter-school debate for 2026. They came from Odogono, right? St. Mary's. Where's the supporting cast? Why are you hiding? Your school has won and you should be clapping so that others will follow up. Out of 6 schools, your school has your school stood out, and you are hiding because I'm going to call you out. Across them is saying if they had won, you go see something. But there's some small jama over there to ginger them up because your school has won. Across them. Next year, inshallah. So thank you all so much for coming through. A fiery debate, great points. St. Mary's Senior High School, you have done so well. So well. Congratulations. And to the rest of you, you all did a great job. And like I said earlier on, the sky is always too big for two birds to clash. But in this competition, there must be one winner, but you guys have done well. Let's clap for them as they take their prizes and prepare to head down. So we can do better. Let us clap while they are on stage until they leave. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So please have your seat. We will now take the closing remarks from Ambassador Harold Ajimai.
Good afternoon. I know that it's been a grueling session of debates, and so you might be exhausted. But the intellectual capacity that you have exhibited is what your nation needs from you as you prepare yourselves academically to assume roles in your respective areas of interest once you clear your secondary education, university education. So let me congratulate each and every one of you for your respective contribution to today's debate. Some of you prepared with them but didn't have the opportunity to exhibit your skills. Some of you came and cheered them on, and some of you even danced to support your schools. I think we are all winners, and you all deserve yourselves a round of applause for the excellent performance that you have exhibited here this afternoon. I'd want to encourage your continuous efforts to understand the importance of regional integration at the level of ECOWAS, which is one of the regional economic communities of the African Union. I'd want to also especially commend your teachers who have taken the trouble to prepare you for today's debate. Some of you had only a week, but the performance that you have exhibited shows that truly you have the potential to even do better in the future. So teachers, we thank you and commend you. And to our distinguished and eminent panel of judges, we are grateful to you for the effort that you have made to ensure that this exercise which is an effort to demonstrate the capacity of our young ones, is professionally assessed. You have done a yeoman's job, and on behalf of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, I'd want to commend you and to thank you. Let's give them also a round of applause. I think that overall, based on your feedback and your comments, as well as the debating points that you made, it is understood that ECOWAS is still work in progress. But it has done tremendously well for the community of nations that are part of this regional community. 400 million people. We have the opportunity to move about quite freely despite some setbacks. Our products are exported across each other's country even before the African Continental Free Trade Area, which we have recently operationalized, began. ECOWAS citizens are able to have residency in our respective countries for 90 days. And there's also the right of establishment once they go through the appropriate procedures. And so, as young people, you have an important role to play also, because ECOWAS is a region that is largely youthful. In strengthening this regional community and ensuring that we can create shared prosperity, shared peace, and a value system that assures for all of us stability. So as you go back to your schools, know that those of us who are now fortunate to work on behalf of the community will continue to do what is required to ensure that ECOWAS becomes even stronger. There are challenges, yes, we acknowledge. 3 member states have decided that they would form an alliance of Sahel states. But even with those challenges, ECOWAS has continued to open its doors to engage with them so that their citizens who are also part of our regional community or shared space will be able to enjoy some of the benefits that the protocols provide. I am sure that based on what we are doing, at some point in time, they would see the need to come back to this regional community that they were part in founding. So, on that note, let me thank each and every one of you for your active contribution to today's debate and to encourage you to continue to be involved in ways that can ensure that ECOWAS would be the community organization that can serve the needs of the peoples of this region. I thank you all and wish you all a pleasant afternoon.
Thank you, Ambassador Ajiman. We will now take the closing prayer. And since we began with the Christian prayer, we will end with the Muslim prayer. And we will ask Alhaji Tijani to kindly lead us in prayer. Round of applause for him as he comes up, please.
Let's continue to pray. Almighty Allah, we thank you for guidance. We thank you for leading us to the successful end of this program. We couldn't have done it without your guidance, your blessings, and for this we want to glorify you and thank you and praise you for bringing us this far. اللهم ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك الرحمة إنك أنت الوهاب ربنا وآتنا ما وعدتنا على رسلك ولا تخزنا يوم القيامة إنك لا تخلف الميعاد آمين.
Thank you, Ambassador Tijani. And a big thanks to all of you for coming today. We have refreshments for all the schools. So we will start with the first place school, or each school will go with 5 students and a teacher. We'll go and pick up the food packages. So kindly arrange amongst yourselves. And we have our protocol officers over there.